Welcome, adventurers, to a new episode of the Thumbstick Adventurers. I'm Kagros,
IDK.
Juicy samples.
and if you're watching this live, we stream on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Pacific time. Otherwise, you can watch our previous episodes on our YouTube channel. But anyways, today is episode 14 called Cash for Cards. So originally the whole idea of this episode was to talk about CCGs, but luckily, luckily for us, Hearthstone dropped a bit of an interesting tidbit of news this week. So IDK, why don't you explain to us this news that Hearthstone dropped on us this week?
Well, okay. So the long and short of it is that Hearthstone now going forward, um, the next patch, I believe, is now dropping classic and basic cards into wild format. They're replacing them with a core set, basically 235 cards that will be given to every single player at the beginning of the year for you to play with. And you earn these cards by leveling up each class. And that in addition to a lot of other cards coming back from Wild, from Classic, from Basic, from the Hall of Fame, one card from there, are all coming back to make this new core set. And this core set will last the entire year. And upon the following year, they will replace cards and update them with new ones to make the new core set. And of course, all these cards are 100% free. You get them just by playing the game. You level up the classes to level 10, you get them all right from the get-go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the the hall. So really quick, I was a little confused. How did the Hall of Fame work? Juicy, do you know how the Hall of Fame used to work? I thought they were just banned in Standard. Were they also banned
So
in Wild too?
I actually don't know. I assumed Hall of Fame is playable in Wild. Like Wild is wild,
Yeah.
like
Right.
the Wild West, as to say. Uh,
Yeah,
I think Hall of Fame is just a way to phrase certain classic cards to go bye bye.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was to ban. It was to ban the classic cards, right?
Yeah. So like
the
yeah,
Hall,
Ragnaros, Sylvanas. Yeah.
yeah, and you had cards that were troublesome in the new expansions, like uh, Gen the Moon Eater or Gen Warwick, and then something the Moon Eater. You had cards basically that they couldn't balance in standard mode. They'd Hall of Fame them and throw them into Wild immediately before they were supposed to go, because they were either too troublesome to balance or because they simply warped the game too much.
I think
And
for that specific case, it's very unique because I think they were still in the yearly rotation. So like
yeah,
Blizzard's like, we can't really print new cards for the year without banning these cards. So let's say we're gonna Hall of
yeah,
Fame them because they're so good. They deserve to be
they,
in the
they
Hall
were
of Fame.
they were too warping. You know, even in odd decks, having to deal with that for the rest of the year developing cards. Blizzard was just like, we're not dealing with that.
Have you guys seen some of the classic cards that were banned? I don't know if you guys taken a look at the Hall of Fame recently.
Mm-mm.
Acolyte of Pain is in the Hall of Fame.
Oh,
What the
interesting. Hmm.
heck? Acolyte. Here. All right. So let's. So, but before we get into that, I just want to let's just quickly go over our history with Hearthstone. So I started Hearthstone in the beta, and I played up. I think probably up until 2018. I want to say. I can't remember the last set that I played in. I'll have to take a look, but I think I stopped around 2018.
Yeah, I started as well in the beta, but I only played it for a very limited amount of time. Maybe at most 2 weeks. And I absolutely hated that losing a match didn't give you anything. It was just a waste of time. And so I got really frustrated and just dropped Hearthstone. I was like, whatever. But I still had the account. Fast forward years later, I think it was 2015, 2016, I think. I had a falling out with League of Legends, and I decided I'd put my money into Hearthstone instead. So I went back to my old account and hopped on during, I guess, what was the golden era. Or at that point, they were releasing new packs, and it was all getting really exciting.
Which
And I
expansion
played
did you
it.
come
So,
back? Do you remember what expansion it was?
uh,
Was it
I remember. I remember
BlackRock?
having the hero cards.
Oh,
No. I was
the
way up at BlackRock.
so Grand Tournament
The
then.
hero card.
Was it Grand Tournament?
No,
No,
not
no, no, no,
no.
no.
Is
It was
it Lich King?
Lich King. Lich King. It was Lich King. Lich King was the first one with
Probably had to be.
the Death Knight, cards, right?
Death Knights. Yeah.
I definitely was playing with Death Knights, but I think Death Knights were like 2 or 3 packs away from rotating out. So I remember the prehistoric set,
Oh, Ungoro. Yep.
Ungoro. Like I remember all those cards. Like when I joined,
All right, let me take a
the Elder Gods were rotating out.
Oh,
Uh,
like Yogg and Cthulhu.
Yeah. Yeah, like
Mhm.
I had those cards for a very short time, like about a month, and then they rotated out, and then we had the new sets.
2015. What was 2015? I'm taking a look right now. So
But I do remember.
oh,
I do remember the last.
if that's the case, Whisper of the Old Gods came out in 2016 in April.
Okay,
So you
so
so you
so
probably
I didn't come back until 2017, probably.
yeah. So Ungoro came out in 2017. Was the
Okay.
first set, and then after that it was the Knights of the Frozen Throne, and then
Yeah.
followed by Kobolds and Catacombs. I know for sure
Yeah.
you were playing during Kobolds
Yeah,
because we were raving about the adventure mode. Remember?
Yeah, the adventure mode was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But the last set I played in was Saviors of Oldham. I remember that because they had the adventure mode and the catchy theme song when they brought back the Adventurers Guild or whatever.
Oh wow, yeah, you played for a lot longer than I. So I'm looking at the set list now, and I'm pretty sure I stopped at Boomsday Project. If anything, I don't really remember that set. I know Witchwood, and then there's Boomsday Project. I don't remember Ross Khan's Rumble. I don't remember that set.
I remember
Mm.
Roscon's Rumble. They had these special arenas. But yeah, that was the point where Saviors of Oldham. That was right before. I think that was.
Oh, sorry. Never mind. Never mind. I did play Rumble for a little bit. The Rumble was where I stopped for sure.
Yeah, I remember Saviors of Oldham. I remember playing the adventure mode, and then I was taking a break from Hearthstone to play League when the Blitzchung incident occurred. That's when I cut Blizzard off right at the neck. I was like, I'm not coming back to you ever again. But we'll save it for later.
All right, Juicy. What about you?
Yeah, funny enough, I started in beta as well. I was a arena player, so
Okay.
I was an infinite player. Did go into constructed for a bit, but never got up to like past rank 5.
Oh man.
So I wasn't super competitive. Never like played it for getting the best cards, but I really liked arena, and I still do in a way. But as of now, I don't play Hearthstone, but I did play a lot of the battlegrounds when it first came out because I thought it was really fun. But then that got old, and yeah, that's it.
So why did you stop? It just got boring.
Well, I was playing arena most of the time, so that got kind of stale. And then with like the whole Hong Kong thing,
Yeah.
that's when I kind of cut them off until they came out with Battlegrounds. And at that time, I was itching to play auto chess. But
Yeah.
then Underlords went down at 6 feet under.
Yes.
So I was like, oh, dude, like Hearthstone with auto chess. This looks pretty easy, but it looks fun too. So that's when I kind of hopped back in.
Yeah, so by the time the Blitzchung incident occurred, I had already stopped Hearthstone. I had basically stopped Blizzard games by that point anyway. I think I really stopped Blizzard games like after the whole Heroes of the Storm, the whole they got rid of it. They basically killed it, right? And but the thing is, I was pretty dissatisfied with Hearthstone for a long time because I did not like the way they balanced their cards. So one thing about Hearthstone being a digital game is that you can change your cards on the fly, unlike Magic, where you once the card's printed, it's like that forever. And Hearthstone's philosophy was just we're just gonna nerf cards, right? We're just gonna nerf cards, and we're never gonna buff cards because you have the ability to buff cards if you really want to, right? But they just kept either banning or nerfing, and I didn't like that at all, one bit, because
So,
I don't want my cards to get banned, even if I get dust for them. You know, if one card of your deck gets banned, your deck is basically dead anyway, right? Because they always kill the core card. Like if you play an even deck, right, and then all right, odd even ban, all right, here's your Stardust, or here's your dust, but it don't matter because the dust isn't enough because I need to build a whole new deck.
I still follow some Hearthstone streamers who
Mhm.
play constructed,
Yeah.
and from what it looks like, I think they've changed their philosophy
Mm-hmm.
on changing cards.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think they do now nerf and buff cards at the same
Okay.
time.
Yeah.
I don't know if that changes your
Mm.
viewpoint
Yeah.
on
But I
things.
mean, at this point, yeah, we can. Yeah, I want to talk about this later, but the whole idea is for these games, right? Once you fall behind and you stop for a set, you're basically done because it takes so it's it. In order to maintain a collection, you basically have to keep playing, right? I
Right.
right.
That's somewhat true. So again, just from like a bird's eye view
Yeah.
of things, I think every time a new set comes out, I want to say like almost 75% are from the new set.
Mm-hmm.
So like from a 30 card deck, that's 75% of that. Like like uh what is that?
Like 20.
25% of it? Like 10 cards, less
Mm-hmm.
than 10 cards are like from previous sets. So like I think some players who do come back, they just like end up dusting some of their old cards in order to craft some of the older cards that were more OP.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have the same restriction I do. I try not to dust any of my cards. I
Mm-hmm.
try not to dust any because like, oh, what if I need this later, right? And then when you dust, you only get 25%. I think it's 25%, right? A legendary, if you dust a legendary, you get 25% of the cost of creating a new legendary or something like that. You
It's
obviously
it's it's something like that. It's not a very good ratio. It definitely is punishing to have to dust, but there were definitely times where I wanted to play well, I wouldn't say hot new deck. I want to play one of the fun mini decks. Bomb Warrior, Bomb Warrior. I need bombers. They're 500 dust. I need to dust all these stupid little cards to get them. And then it turns out the recipe changes like within a day because they realize the bomb card you want is garbage. You're like, damn it. But
Yeah.
I I,
yeah,
I know this is Juicy's favorite deck, Grim Patron. Grim Patron. I would.
And
You don't know how devastated I was when they nerfed Warsong Commander. I was like, this is the worst possible nerf that they could do to Warsong Commander, and it killed the deck. Like I'm like, oh my god, that was when my frustration with their philosophy reached like an all time high because I was like, this is not how you nerf. You don't turn it into a complete brand new card. If you're gonna nerf it, not only did they turn it into a brand new card, they turned it into a brand new useless card.
mm-hmm.
yeah, pretty much. But they brought it back, a couple
Yeah,
years too late.
actually, that's a that's a good segue to classic. So one thing about classic is that I'm not sure if I read it correctly, but they're they're unnerfing, or I don't want to say unnerfing. That's not, they are reverting all the cards, all the classic cards back to the beta version, or right after Hearthstone came out of beta, I think. But
Something
All
like
yeah,
the prime state in a way.
yeah.
yeah,
All
Like
all classic and basic cards are basically
no,
being thrown back to the way they were back in
but
2014.
that's only for the classic mode. So Knife Juggler will be a 3-2 in
mhm,
classic
mhm.
mode, but in wild
Yeah.
it will be the 2-2 or whatever it is now. I think it's still
Right.
2-2.
Right, right. Yeah, Leroy Jenkins will be a 4 cost,
Yes.
but in Wild he's still a 5 cost.
Yes. Yes.
And Innervate and all those other
Oh,
Druid cards that got
Innervate.
completely
Mm.
slammed a
Innervate.
while back. They're back. They're back at full power.
You mean that force of
I mean,
nature? Come on.
I was just reading some of the comments on the Play Hearthstone page. Jeez, I haven't been there in like years. People were like, "Oh, but this doesn't bring back the zero turn OTK Giants deck from the past," because like
Oh
the
yeah,
snapshot
Warlock.
they're taking
Warlock.
won't have the right cards to do it. But like, they're I guess we'll get into this now. I had thought that Brian Kibler, a famous Twitch streamer
Yep.
for Hearthstone,
Yes.
he had championed this idea of a core set for years. I mean, I watched a video of his 2 years ago on this stuff. I'm like thinking, yeah, that'd be a good idea. I don't think Blizzard will ever do it though, because they're a bunch of poo-poo heads. But
IDK, let's keep this family friendly, okay?
Yes, PG, please. Let's not use mean words.
PP heads. It's what was I gonna say?
Brian Kibler and core sets.
Yeah, Brian Killer wanted to do core set for the cards to make it even for new players, but where's I going with this? I've lost my train of thought.
So I think one comment, I feel like I can assume that Brian Kibler kind of was a little perplexed because he does want to have this like rotating core set, but like how do you give this core set to everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think back then Hearthstone was a greedy bitch. Like, sorry,
Oh.
sorry, excuse my language, excuse my French.
No,
Like, Blizzard
it is.
was really greedy, and like we're so used to them like nickeling and diming you. So it is a little shocking to hear that this core set is free in the sense that you need to like be at a certain point at a game, which is pretty simple to get to if you really like the game and you level up all of your heroes, which is actually really easy to do. So it's pretty cool that Blizzard is doing that, and I'm intrigued. I'm actually very intrigued to jumping back in.
Yeah, so Brian Kilber comes from Magic. I don't know if you guys know that. He used to be a former MTG pro player, but then MTG is the money you can make from streaming is not very good. So he went to Hearthstone, which is definitely the right career choice in my opinion. But the MTG has core sets, and it's I think anyone that comes from MTG knows that if you play MTG, you know for sure that the core set was definitely a lot better than the way they did Classic, because I mean we can see the problems with Classic having basically one set that never rotates, right? And eventually some part of it's going to get broken. Like Acolyte of Pain in Hall of Fame? What the heck? Can you guys ever imagine Acolyte of Pain in Hall of Fame?
There had to have been some sort of weird interaction with Warlock or Rogue or something that caused...
that card is simply pretty good.
Oh,
for you to be able to draw like 3 cards on average most of the time with Acolyte of Pain, if you play it correctly.
Yes.
3 mana for 3 cards is pretty good.
Yeah. And when you take, and usually if they kill it, then that also saves you some life too. Right? So let me read to you guys the cards in the Hall of Fame just so you guys can see. All right. So Acolyte of Pain is in the Hall of Fame. Spellbreaker. So
Wait, what?
Spellbreaker is the 4 mana 4/3 silence.
Yeah.
Oh.
So,
okay.
So already I'm looking at this. I'm like, these cards are pretty good in Arena. Both of these cards are pretty good in Arena, right? And then one of my most favorite cards, Cold Light Oracle. What was that already in the Hall of Fame? I think that was already in the Hall of Fame by the time we stopped playing, right?
Yeah. By the end, it's in there before we stopped playing.
Mind Control Tech, which is also a really good Arena card.
Yeah, that was still legal when we were playing. Yeah. Wow, I guess they put that in
I think Mind Control Tech was banned from Arena before it was put to Hall of Fame. It was that good of a card. It was that frustrating of a card.
And then there's Azure Drake, which is also
my boy,
which is also a very good Arena. All these cards are good in Arena. I'm sensing a pattern here.
Interesting.
All right, and then Captain's Parrot, which was banned because I think it's one of those prize cards where you have. That's why. That's the only reason why it's banned. And our good friend Mountain Giant, which I think was banned already. And then
Mountain Giant, so good.
Molten Giant as well.
John, yeah.
And then Olm Murkai, which is another reward card.
Mm-hmm.
Elite Tauren Chieftain, which was banned because of the limited availability. And of course, Leroy Jenkins, we already knew that. Giblin Mechatork, which was banned for the same reason as Elite Tauren Chieftain. And then, just as IDK mentioned, Gen Greymane was also banned. Windrunner.
But they're coming back, right?
Yeah. I'm just reading the cards that were previously.
Oh.
So basically, all these cards were
Mhm.
banned from Standard at some point.
Mhm.
Sylvanas Windrunner, and then my boy, my most favorite card, good, Ye Faith, Old Faithful Ragnaros, Orange Jesus, Orange Jesus himself.
Ragnaros, I think that card was my first legendary card.
I think not only was it my first legendary, it was my first golden legendary.
Ooh.
And then Baku the Moon Eater, which is the odd.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. All these are uncollectible cards. Oh, and then I guess the class cards. I'm just gonna quickly go over some of these. Naturalized that was already banned. Ice Lance, Black Cat, Ice Block, Divine Favor is banned. So I wonder why Divine Favor is banned. I always thought that was somewhat of a fair card.
Aggro Paladin's really good.
Oh yeah. I played Aggro Paladin for a while, but like to get it banned, I don't know about that. Northshire Cleric.
Something must have happened.
Northshire Cleric. What? OTK Priest. OTK Priest. My favorite Inner Fire Priest. I love that deck.
Interesting.
Yeah. So most of these decks I played in Wild because I played for Wild for a long time, and then always Divine Spirit was banned. Mind Blast surprisingly is banned. But and then Soul Priest. Holy Fire? Holy Fire? Really? Shadow Form.
We've been gone a long time.
Yeah. Shadow Form is banned.
They did like a priest like rework, so that's why some of the cards got Hall of Fames.
Conceal and Vanish were both banned when we were still playing, right?
I know Conceal was banned for a while.
Or maybe Vanish was too. Yeah. All right.
I remember Vanish, but
yeah. Warlock, Power Overwhelming. Man, that card was.
Yeah.
I like that card in Arena. I thought it was pretty good in Arena. It's a surprise kill. And then Doomguard, which is has charge, so that's the only reason, right? So yeah, those are most of the cards that were banned in Hall of Fame. So yeah, so I definitely
which now is gone.
Yes. So I the core set being free, just like Juicy said, is actually a pretty big thing. And just like we mentioned before, the problem with Classic and Basic is that you have a non-rotating card pool, and eventually something will get broken in it. And it also limits design for the cards. Because like, oh, I can't design new cards because this card is never going to rotate.
Yeah, that is the issue of designing new cards for a new set and going like, well, we want to design this 2-mana 2/2 that does this effect. Oh, oops, there's a classic card for this archetype that already does that better.
Yeah,
like it's a 2-mana 2/3 with the same effect. Like no one's ever going to play R2/2.
Right.
So, IDK, do you know if the core set does it rotate on a yearly basis as well?
Yes, the core set will rotate on a yearly basis. They will remove cards.
Interesting.
And they'll add new cards from the new expansions that have come out to become part of that core set, I believe.
But it will always be free.
So
it will always be free.
Always be free. It'll always be free, and as long as you're level 10 with all the heroes, you get all the core set cards immediately.
Now, wouldn't it be a bitch move if Blizzard one day says, "Oh, you need to have a battle pass to get all your core set"? They're gonna pull it. They're gonna do that. Just you wait.
I don't know.
I don't think they will. Hearthstone is not the dominating force as it used to be, especially since now it faces competition from not only MTGA but also Legends of Runeterra. And I think we can talk about that later when we compare these all these games. But I think in a nutshell, I don't think they're going to be. They can't be greedy. They can't be greedy anymore because they basically don't have. They're not the. They're not the only player in this market. And they're not the sole dominating factor in this market anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would really
So
like to see what
who
their numbers
is?
are.
I don't think there really is.
Yeah,
CCGs, they're not. They're not as dominant. Just the genre itself isn't. Isn't a
I
big thing.
think Battle Royales really sort of took their cake and ran away with it.
Yeah.
Like, why play CCG when you have to like spend money to get cards just to play when you could play a Battle Royale for free and not really need to pay anything for it, other than of course skin envy,
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like for CCGs, Hearthstone was the top
Mm-hmm.
for a long time.
Yep.
And I think a lot of Blizzard's errors, which they're trying to correct, I can admit that I don't like them, but they are trying to fix it, might keep Hearthstone from sinking even further. But I'd say it's probably a three-way tie between Hearthstone, MTG, and then I'll classify them as like the third-party games. Legends of Runeterra, which is slowly growing. Eternal, I think that's what its name was, the anime card game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then other ones that like are out there you can play if you don't want to play one of the big ones.
Artifact?
They're all fighting for Artifact. They're all fighting for the same share of card players, and it's like if you can hook people, they'll stay with your game, and they're not going to bother moving to another game because it's going to cost too much to restart.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think Blizzard's trying to combat by going, hey, guess what? All those cards you would have had to have unlocked or purchased or whatever, you get them for free now. Here's this big Hunkadory core set you can play right off the bat if you play our game. But it's a couple years too late, I think.
Yep. I definitely agree. So going back to the classic, I'm curious. What are your guys? If you guys were to play classic, what decks would you guys play? What decks would you guys be playing?
I personally, even though it feels really bad to play against, I really liked Freeze Mage. It's a very like one player sided game. It's like very much solitaire, and it was actually a blast because you're trying to survive. You're like using Frost Novas, Ice Blocks, and then it's like, okay, I'm waiting for my pieces. Come on. Okay, I got it.
Icicle Lance.
Yeah.
But apparently, I was reading that Icicle Lance wasn't in the original game when it came out of beta or something like that. So I'm not sure if Freeze Mage is still going to be there. But there is
2014.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But you might it depends what cards are available to Mage when the cutoff point for Classic was. But yeah, I'm not sure. Actually, here let me take a quick look. When was I? Because the big name is Icicle Lance, right? Like in order for that deck to function, I think you need Icicle Lance. You definitely need Icicle Lance because
I think probably one good deck. Sad enough to say is probably Zoo. So.
Zoo, yeah.
Warlock, right?
But it's so boring to play. Yeah, or like Face Hunter maybe. Like 2/1 Leopard Gnomes. 2/1. So good.
Oh yeah, it's 1-1 now, right?
Yeah.
Didn't they nerf? All right, let's see. Patch changes. When did this come out? When did it come out?
But yeah, it's been a very long time since.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 2014, right? So that's 7 years, and I think 2014 is when beta started. Was it, or was it even before then?
I don't remember.
Because I feel like I did join in 2014. So at that time, I don't know if like even like Unleash the Hounds is 2 mana.
Oh yeah, Unleash the Hounds.
It's so funny. Do you remember the history of that card?
No, but I know it used to be a lot more busted than what it is now. They kept nerfing it.
So it used to be a lot worse, actually. I think it started off as like a 4 mana card,
Yeah.
and then it went down to 2 mana, and it got 2 busted, and they went back to 3, or they
Yeah.
went to 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really funny.
Yeah. I probably would play Face Hunter or Zoo, to be honest with you. If I was playing Classic, I love my aggro decks because the faster I can complete my dailies, the better. And I'm actually a very proactive player. I'm not a reactive player. So I if I'm playing a game, I want to play the game, right? I don't want to sit there and do nothing. So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely like I like playing aggro and being proactive rather than reactive. That's just the kind of player that I am. So like my friend, when we were discussing what players he was, he's like, this is what Kagros likes to do. So he just made this motion. Go on and whoop! And then turn sideways. Go wide and then turn sideways. So yeah, I'm
Oh,
definitely an aggro player. So IDK, what would you play?
I was just looking on the Reddit page to see what decks people were suggesting for Classic, and I totally forgot about Face Hunter.
Yes, aggro player.
Face Hunter. I experimented with that later on with some of the cards, and like the thing is, like Starving Buzzard and Unleash the Hounds were kind of core to that.
Mm-hmm.
Starving Buzzard mostly.
Yeah,
You really want Starving Buzzard, but they both got nerfed.
Yep.
So the fact we can get that back. The only caveat though is that we wouldn't get the hero card for Hunter.
Oh,
What was it called?
Deathstalker Rexar.
Yeah. The let you like
good.
build beasts.
Yeah, that'd be way too busted.
Like,
are you kidding me? That'd be way too busted.
But like you won't need it though in Classic.
Yes, you won't need it
because you won't need it to answer. You won't need it to answer and out of control. Like
yeah, I think out of beta, Hunter and Warlock were probably the most powerful classes in the game, and then Mage is up there too. I think those three were the strongest classes in the game, because of I think Blizzard really underestimated aggro early on. So as a result, most of the aggro cards are they're a hell of a lot better, and apparently Priest was pretty bad at release, so Priest is going to be really bad. I think they got most of their tools in Noxramas, I believe.
Yeah, Priest, Paladin, I think Rogue. Maybe no.
No, Rogue got OTK, I think. Or sorry,
Rogue
Miracle.
has some burst.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
yeah,
I think out of Classic, I personally think Warlock is the most fun because you can play aggro or you can play control pretty well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Warlock is definitely, I think, it's probably the strongest class coming out of beta. To be honest, I think it's even stronger than Hunter because, dude, 2 mana, pay 2 life, draw a card every turn. Jeez, that's the hero power itself was just too good.
And then you play out your boy, Molten Giant, Mountain Giants, all the Giants. Just play them out. Sea Giants and Zoo deck. Come on.
So let's quickly go over the Hearthstone formats, and then this way we can kind of segue into comparing Hearthstone with some of the other CCGs. So both MTG. So I'm gonna use MTG as a comparison because that's the one I'm most familiar with. So MTG and Hearthstone, they both have standard, right? It's and they're actually the same. It's just the last two includes all the sets from the past 2 years, and the only difference that Hearthstone had the classic set, but now that's going away. And that's gonna be a core set. So and the core set's gonna be updated every year. So basically, it's gonna be cards from the past 2 years. And then Wild, which did you guys play Wild?
Wild, I only barely touched when the odd and even cards got banished there. I took my odd and even deck into Wild and played a little bit, and then realized it was not a realm for me to wander into. It was too scary.
I dabbled into it just a little bit, but then I was like, what is life? What is constructed? What is Wild? Why do I play this? And I just went back to Arena. Because I want to be the best. I want to get 12 and then start over.
Yeah, so I played Wild for a long time. Like, I got sick of rotation, and I primarily was just doing it just for dailies anyway. So, I was sitting on mountains of gold. Like, I was sitting on, 5,000 gold at times. And, I would spend 2,000 on every time a new set was released, and then build back to 5,000. So, I had a lot of gold. And yeah, so I played a lot of Wild because I just it changes less. But actually, that's actually a fallacy because it actually changes. It moves a little bit with each set, so you still have to make new decks. But yeah, I played Wild for a long time. I played Odd no, not Odd or Even. I played Shaman for a long time. Maybe it was Even Shaman. It was Even Shaman in
Even
Wild.
Shaman.
Yeah, I also played Inner Fire Priest, which is a lot of fun too. Play play your girl North Fire Cleric, and then get her HP high enough, and then kill them in one turn.
Hey, Kagros, like, what does odd and even do again? Like, does odd and even change your hero power as well to something else?
You get a yes. I think one of them was it lowers your hero power to one. I think for the even, was it the even? Yeah, for even it changed your hero power to
Even
cost
lower,
one.
cost 1. Odd, uh, odd buffed your hero power.
Here,
Yeah, odd buffed your hero power, but made it cost more, I think.
let me take a look. They should be in the
Because I'm
hall.
because like even paladin, you could play your hero power for 1. So on first turn you could do hero power
Yes.
and get a soldier, but on odd paladin, your hero power costs
Probably
2.
two. Yeah,
Yeah, your hero
and
power
you
costs
get two guys.
you get
Oh
two
yes,
guys.
yes, 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 yes. Yeah, it improved
So
it.
like,
Yeah, that sounds about right.
it improves it. Odd improves it, even made it cost 1 less.
Yeah, here.
I actually like that like style, like conceptually, but then it's just very limiting because you only have so many odd and even
Card.
cards that like all
Yeah.
the decks are the same.
Yep. Yeah.
And
So
a lot of the odd and even cards not in paladin or mage or warrior were all kind of bad. Like the actual designed for odd and even cards. Like the priest butterfly card, it was like a 6 mana. It was pretty garbage. I remember that
Mm-hmm.
card being sort of a joke.
the eel,
Then
dude.
the druid had the eel for shaman though.
Oh, so good, dude. So good. So
Oh,
it was a
good.
2 mana, two
3
three
mana.
ETB. Deal two
Was
damage.
Oh,
It was really
okay.
good. It was really good. It was.
I
it
forgot
was
about that.
yeah. But
And
like
you
there
had
was
your
the
4 mana
deer that
7/7. Was that
oh
part of
yeah,
it?
it's 4 mana.
What was the
4
4 mana
mana
seven
7/7
seven? What did it do?
for shaman.
What was
It's
it?
just overload too,
Oh yeah,
like
yeah, 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 yeah.
faceless
Yeah,
something.
yeah, I remember now. Yeah, yeah, that thing, amazing, amazing. Yeah. So anyway,
There were some fun guys.
so Wild is basically the MTG's legacy, which is you can use every set, and but Hearthstone doesn't have a ban list. I think for Wild, right? So actually, it's probably more like Vintage if that's the case. So Hearthstone doesn't have a ban list. And then finally,
Yeah, there's
yeah, sorry, go ahead, IDK.
no, I was gonna say there's no ban list for wild, but any nerfs they received in standard carried over to wild.
Yep. And then MTG has Modern Legacy, which doesn't rotate like standard, but it only uses there's a cutoff point on what sets that can be played. I don't think Hearthstone is anything like that. And then Classic is very similar to MTG's 93 and 94 format, which is basically the first 2 years of the game. And that format's really expensive because, as we all know, I have a picture here of the Black Lotus. Recently went for auction for 500K. So a lot of people have can't really play that format. So, but Classic, I think the closest I could find to MTG was the 93-94 format. And going back to Classic, I think the format's gonna get stale real quick because you can correct me if I'm wrong, IDK, but I don't think they're gonna change the Classic format at all, right? There's no way they can change unless they plan on moving it forward with time.
I'm not entirely sure. Reading the announcement, it didn't really seem to state what their plan was. It was just we're gonna have a classic mode. It's gonna go all the way back to like first release 2014 after the alpha and beta ended. That's it. Like snapshot patch number 1.0254, whatever. And I would assume, might be a fool for doing so, it would be like classic WoW where they are slowly releasing the old expansions and just keeping things the same. They could certainly do that to keep interest up so it doesn't just die immediately. But it really sort of raises questions of like how far they're going to go, what expansions they're going to release in classic mode, and does it just end up being like replaying Hearthstone's past again? Like eventually you'll reach where we are now.
I do think so, IDK. I think you put it in a really good way. You said snapshot, and I think classic mode can become like multiple classic modes where you end up playing snapshots of past history. So like for Kagros, there might be a snapshot of the Grim Patron
Oh
meta,
please! Oh
and you,
please!
and you just play that snapshot of classic mode. But I
Oh,
think there will be like multiple classic modes.
I can see them rotating it, like a rotating classic, right? Right? Like it's like
Mhm.
okay, for this season, or maybe for like they release a format and there's like, all right, for this format, classic mode is going to be this patch, and then when the new set comes out, all right, we're gonna take the snapshot and move it to this patch, and as always, all the cards will be available to players so that they can play that snapshot. I think certainly be an interesting way of doing it.
Hey, IDK, would they give you all the cards for Classic? Is that something I missed?
I think
It says here that when logging in after our patch for the next expansion, before expansion content unlocks, your entire collection of basic, classic, and relevant Hall of Fame cards will be mirrored and available for deck building in the classic format,
oh,
as they were in the 1.0.0.5832 patch of June 2014, with
oh
any
So
and
it
all
does
balance changes reverted.
it does sound like you still need to have the cards.
yeah,
They
yeah,
don't
it
give it
does.
to you.
Yeah,
Cards.
yeah. Huh. That'd certainly be an interesting way of monetizing their old sets. And yeah, so actually, I do see them doing rotating classic snapshots. I think that if they want to monetize it, they definitely can do that. It looks like though they're trying to monetize the old sets now. So
They're gonna be like, remember those good days when you had Grim Patron with Acolyte of Pain, like all that stuff. Or like, oh, do you remember the mech meta, what goblins and gnomes,
oh
right?
god,
Where
Doctor
where you
Boom,
have
dude,
like
Doctor Boom in
Doctor
every deck,
Boom
in
and
every deck.
Mech Warpers, Mech Warper. What is that? Mech Warper Mage, so good.
This oh man, Doctor Boom, dude. I hate that card so much. I hate that card so much, dude.
So good.
I hate that card so much because like I didn't really use my dust either, so I didn't have Doctor Boom. So I had Ragnaros. So guess who counters Ragnaros?
Just you're just playing hard mode,
Okay,
Kagros.
it says here in their FAQ, will the classic format see changes in the future, more expansions added, etc.? They state, we have nothing further to announce currently, but we're looking forward to player feedback on the classic format.
Mm.
So for now, it's just going to be June 2014, that patch number. Whatever cards were in the game, whatever state they were in, you get that. With the only exception being if they made any art changes to cards, they're going to stay the same. So like Fell, Walker, or whatever, will be reverted back to Succubus. Which is
Secret
like,
Keeper, come on.
they made so many changes to art, and like they won't even go through all the way with classic mode and bring back the old art. Like it's kind of shitty.
More like they
But
gotta
hey,
revert back Jaina the hero art. Come on.
oh yeah,
Wait,
Jaina.
did
How
they
can they
change
nerf?
Jaina? Did they change Jaina's
They
art? All
did
right,
change Jaina.
let me take a look here. Let me take a look here.
They did so much puffering up.
Puffering
No
up,
real reason.
puffering
No
up.
real reason whatsoever.
Actually, here, let me look at it on the stream. Let me turn this thing on. I have not really been doing it.
Yeah,
But yeah,
screw that.
so
It wasn't Hong Kong or Blitzchung or any of that shit. It was when they got rid of Succubus. That's when I left. Screw Blizzard. Get rid of my
of
Succubus. I
course.
never used her. I didn't care about her. You changed the art. I'm mad.
I'm leaving.
I'm leaving. My credit card. Bye bye.
Wait, is it?
Yeah, you can nerf the card, you can put it in Hall of Fame, but just don't change the art. How
Change
dare
the
you?
art. I'll change the art. How dare you?
So IDK, I think on the stream you can see is this the new art?
And I took that personally.
Is this the new art?
Not that one.
Okay, let me
So like
see.
scroll down.
Wait, is
Jaina,
it's the same art, right? This is the same one,
like
right?
the hero image. There you go.
Yeah,
Paint.
those two hero images.
Oh,
Like,
oh, yeah, there you go.
This one,
yeah.
right?
So scroll down, and see that lower one. Yeah, you see that? You see that
Oh.
little cleavage right there in the middle? They covered up with a white cloth.
Oh my! Oh man, that's a nerf, dude. That's a nerf.
I know.
That's a
It's a
nerf.
big nerf.
Revert it back. Revert it back.
Go
Revert it
back.
back.
Go back.
That's a
Hit
nerf.
the go back button. Like, I remember when they did that, and it's like, you ruined the card. Like, how could you? How could you?
That's a
How
nerf.
could you? It's a huge nerf.
That's a nerf.
It's ridiculous. Come on. What? Is this a game for children or something? I thought this was a game for adults.
All right, so I kind of want to compare the how you guys feel about the dust system. What do you guys feel about? How do you guys feel about the dust? And oh, wait, hold on. Before I ask that, have you guys gone back to Hearthstone at all since you guys left in 2018?
No.
Because I'm not sure if they changed the way that their economies work since then.
I deleted all my Blizzard games after the BlizzCon incident and deleted my Hearthstone or deleted my Blizzard launcher.
Mhm.
Like I pretty much the only thing I really didn't do was delete my account. I just left it dormant.
So
The solidarity.
how did you guys like the economy of Hearthstone? So like the dusting system, the arena, and the gold and everything, and buying packs and stuff like that.
I personally think the dusting system. So I do think you get half of the value for whatever card you dust. For like to craft a legendary card, you would need to dust an equivalent 2 legendary cards to get a legendary.
Let me take.
I'm pretty sure. I think it costs
Mhm.
1,600 to craft a legendary, and when you dust a legendary, it's 800. I'm pretty sure. I know for sure it's not 1-1.
Okay, so here, I have the chart open. So let me.
I think Dusty Legendary was 400.
Dusting Legendary was.
It was actually a quarter.
It's
Oh.
a quarter. Here.
Yeah.
So I put it up on the stream.
You did get 4 of them up. You get 1.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I remember
Actually,
that. Felt pretty bad.
Let me fix this real quick. Okay. So legendary, it costs 1,600 to craft it, and the disenchanting you get 400. If it's a golden though, it costs 3,200, but when you disenchant a golden legendary, you get 1,600. So it's 50% for a golden version of the card, but it's 25% if you do a regular card.
I personally don't play constructed enough to feel affected by it, and for someone who plays arena, I do get a lot of dust. So I actually hoard a lot of dust. I think I have like 20k of dust, but I don't only craft like. In fact, I only craft classic cards because you don't get classic packs that often anymore. So like I'll craft some missing legendaries to complete my set.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, like I think it's fair. Personally, I think it's fair. From what I thought of like you being able to dust original cards to get like 50% of their worth, I thought that was fair. But now hearing that it's only 25%, maybe that's a bit too harsh.
And
I mean, in my experience, the dusting always seemed a little wonky. Like for a game, a 1,600 card only gave you 400 back. It always felt kind of crappy. But there were plenty of like legendaries that were bad. Like if you unlocked them from a card pack, especially if you were like me, a big old whale, just shelling out that money for card packs, unlocking all sorts of cards. You end up getting one of the crappy legendaries. Like, okay, I'm dusting you. I'm dusting you. I'm dusting you. The dust would just pile up. Then you could make whatever you wanted. But it was still shitty, though. It was still definitely designed for you to, like, get upset and want to buy packs so you can get more cards so you can dust more useless cards to get the actual cards you wanted to build your deck, whatever it was. You know, I shudder to think of how many people dusted decks of cards just to get what was it, Shadowbane? Was that the legendary rogue card? The sword that comes back to your deck after it's destroyed that you could buff?
Oh yeah, I remember that stupid card.
Mm.
I remember that stupid card.
Yeah, I know Kingsbane. Kingsbane. That's what
Kingsbane,
it's
yes.
called.
Kingsbane,
And
yes.
so many, so many people, so many people went and built that deck, and then within like a month of it getting really popular, Blizzard was like, "Nope, nerfed," and they nerfed the surrounding cards too. So now, and no one got any dust for it too. So you just got screwed. You pumped all your cards in to get that legendary, so you could build that deck. Luckily, I didn't. But gold wise, so that's for dust. Gold, the gold system I thought was okay as long as you win. As long as you win, it's fine.
You have to win.
If you lose, it's a piece of crap. Because coming from League where losing still got you IP, and now losing still gets you BE or whatever. Playing a game, having a really intense game of Hearthstone, and then losing and getting nothing for it was like, what was I even doing, man? Why was I even playing? Like, this is a waste of time. And you'll see it also in like some mobile games where like if you don't win the match, you don't unlock a gem or a trophy or a chest that you can then unlock later for currency. You just simply wasted your time. And it's designed to frustrate you so that you will, instead of using the free currency, you will buy the premium currency to buy packs so you can skip the whole gold thing.
Yeah, so I actually didn't like the dusting system because, first of all, you guys know my luck. Like every time an expansion released, we would open up our packs and we would compare how many legendaries we got, and I was always the one with the least amount of. I basically got the free legendary that was guaranteed, and then nothing, and then no other legendary. And the free legendary I got was always trash. So like right out the gate from the new set, I did not have strong legendaries. I had all the commons and some of the rares, some of the epics, but like I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't get any of these cards. So first of all, I really hate the fact you have to open packs, right? You absolutely have to open packs to get the cards, or basically you get dust for them. And just like we pointed out before, the 25% return rate. So basically, if you want the meta legendary, then you need to open 4 legendaries. You have to dust 4 legendaries, which absolutely was not worth it. And to compare this with MTGA, which is kind of what I want to turn back to. And the reason why I had the idea for this episode in the first place was because people were complaining about the MTGA's economy. And I felt that Hearthstone economy was even worse. Because, so, I know Juicy really likes Arena, the Arena of Hearthstone. But I also didn't really like it because it was too much RNG focused. Because, like, sometimes you can make every decision right. And you can make all the right decisions in your arena draft, but you can still lose to RNG just because someone was given stronger cards in their draft or in their arena run than you were. And it felt really like some of the arena runs, you're like, there is no way, even if I made all the right decisions, there is no way that this is going to be a 12 win deck. There was no possible way for us to be a 12-win deck. So I really didn't like that because like some people are like, oh, I got 3 legendaries or 2 or 3, and this was before they changed the legendary the way the rates were. But like, I got 3 legendaries in my deck. I'm like, great. He's playing Paladin, and he opened 3 Tyrion 4 dragons or whatever the hell. The guy that has taunt and divine shield and turns into a weapon after he dies, which I think is definitely one of the strongest legendaries. So yeah, so I wasn't a big fan of that, but to compare the economies, let me give you guys some clarity here. So MTGA, you need 5,000 gold to play in a draft. MTGA's drafts, you keep all your cards as well, and you get about 1,000 gold a day. So it takes 5 days before you get your draft run. I think Hearthstone was 50 or 75 for your quest, right? Every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So 3 days you can get an arena costs 150 gold. So you play for 3 days, you get an arena run, and you don't get to keep the cards you get. And I think how many wins do you need to go infinite, Juicy? 7 or 8?
You need to get 7, but then you do get a pack. Yes. You always get a pack.
But just for the sake of going infinite, of going like I think the break even was 3. because that's when you get 50 gold in one pack, which is about that's the price.
Mm-hmm.
But going infinite just through gold was 7, right?
Yeah, because you always get at least 150 gold back.
Yeah, yeah. So like, and how many loses? Is it three? Three losses?
Yeah,
Three.
once you get 3 losses, your arena run is done.
So you need a win rate about 70% in order to go infinite, right?
Uh,
Yeah, because
I
you
guess
finished 7 out of 10, right? 7 out of 10.
it's 7 out of 12.
No, 7 out of 10. No, because you played 10 matches, right? If you lose at 7, then you've lost 3, right? So you played 10, a total of 10.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes,
So you
yes.
need a
Hmm
70% win rate. In arena, you need for the 5,000 cost draft, you need 6 wins or 5 wins. I think it's 5. I want to say 5. No. You need 6. So in arena, you need a 66% win rate in order to go infinite, and you also keep your cards too, and you get a booster pack too.
Mm.
So like just looking at that value perspective, the Hearthstone you basically get a chance to go infinite faster, because it's every 3 days at most, right? 50 gold times 3. You can get sometimes you're looking at it in 2 days. Wait, were there 100 gold? Wait, didn't they increase the gold you get from quest? I could have sworn there was a 100 gold
There,
quest.
there were 100 gold quests. I think even
It's
at one
pretty
point
rare.
they had some higher ones as well, but they were pretty rare. They're
Hmm,
pretty special.
okay. Yeah. So, but the difference between MTGA is that you can't dust your cards. So once you get the cards, you basically they're locked into your collection. You can't dust them for more resources.
Mm.
But they have.
So,
Sorry, go ahead.
so I was gonna say with Hearthstone, you do get up to 3 quests.
Hmm.
On average, it's 50 gold each. So you could play arena like on day 0
Hmm.
if you complete all 3 quests. But I
Right, right.
guess like just you're talking about like if you were to exhaust all your quests
Yeah, yeah. So
and you
I'm
have
just
no
talking
gold.
about the cycle. Like let's say you start from you have cleared all your quests, you got all the gold, you did an arena run, and you did it, and
And you got nothing.
yeah, you had you're bad, you went 0-3, right? Yeah, that's me. I go 0-3 all the time.
Feeling targeted here.
No, you're more like IDK where you spend all your gold on packs and you spend real money on packs and you have no quests, no gold, no real money.
I have
Now
no
play
gold.
arena.
Shoot, man! I spent all that money to get cards for construct. I'm just gonna play construct. I'm not gonna touch arena. Arena's a money sink.
So in MTGA as well, you packs can have wild cards in them, and as you open packs, it fills a counter and you get wild cards. You use those wild cards to buy whatever cards you want to use. And
Mm.
when I was prevented with the two systems, I actually preferred MTGA's because first of all, when you draft, the drafting experience is an actual draft. Originally it was with bots, but now they have player drafts too. But you're drafting with bots, and the card packs them around, so it's not as RNG intensive. It's still RNG because someone can have crazy pulls in their packs, right? But it's still a little. It was less, and I did enjoy the drafting in that set a lot more, right, on MTGA a lot more than Arena, and
So
the
why is that? Like you say that it's like it's less RNG, but it's still somewhat
it
RNG.
is still somewhat RNG because you could still lose. Basically, people found ways to game the bots. So, like in one set, there was a card that the bots took very, very low because it was a mill card, and so basically, everyone was just um, manipulating the bot so they can draft the mill deck. And basically, it's whoever has more of the mill cards in their deck wins because you'll draw it more often. I
Hmm.
remember that, but drafts they're still RNG no matter what, right? There's going to be RNG in them
Mhm.
just because of what cards you open, right? But I feel like you have more control over it because the cards will wheel, right? It's not like the draft in Hearthstone is just you're shown 3 cards, you keep one, and then the other 2 just poof disappear, right? But in Magic's drafts, you pass the card pack to the next person, and then you pick up So I think there's a lot more skill involved in reading the table and seeing what's open. So yeah, so wild cards, gold from quests. Yeah, I just really enjoy MTGA system a lot more. A lot of people complain now in MTGA saying that, oh, you should be able to dust your cards. And I'm like, well, they have wild cards the and and just like how Juicy plays Hearthstone, he does it for Arena, right? He doesn't do it for Constructed. I actually use MTGA to play drafts as well. So I definitely I can see I agree with Juicy. I can see how Juicy felt about Hearthstone because it's the same way how I feel about MTGA. Because like you do these draft formats and you basically build your collection like that. Unlike and then we have IDK over here who just I need open more packs, open.
Or like I was watching a streamer, Bomb Warrior. How do I do that? Oh, I need to buy a bunch of packs so I can get the special champion and the special card so I can do bombs. Or like someone, Disguised Toast before he left Hearthstone invented this Frost Infinite Armor Warrior deck.
Mm-hmm.
And I built that deck to like buy cards to do it, so I get the dust for it. And I played it. Solid hour of playing. One game, just stacking infinite armor for the combo. Get to 999 armor and watch the poor other guy just sit there and be like, "What am I supposed to do?" And this warrior just sit there laughing. You can't kill me.
Yeah. So the whole argument was that, for MTGA, oh, I can't dust my cards. Like, what if I don't want to use this card? But ultimately, with Hearthstone, even though there's a dusting system, in order to dust cards, you have to open packs to begin with, right? You gotta crack that cardboard, right? And ultimately, for both these games, in order to get what you want, you have to open packs anyway, no matter what. You got it. This is the core of how card games work.
It's a way of life.
Open packs.
Right, you got to open packs, and they want you to open packs. That's how they make money, right?
Well, it's addicting. You open a pack, you get a legendary, and you're like, I got a legendary. But it's a shitty one. I need to open another pack. Get a couple epics. Get some crappy commons. Another pack. Give me more packs. Spend more money. I spent $100.
Mm-hmm.
Do it again.
Oh my gosh.
So Kagros, I know you have a lot of opinions about this, but so what is the correct way, or what is a better way to design an economy where you can fairly exchange card for card?
So someone brought this up, right? Where they're like, okay, let's say MTGA implements a dusting system, and then they're like, they're gonna, and basically his argument was, even if they did, they would find another way to get money out of your wallet. Right? So no matter what, I feel like no matter what system they implement, they still need to make money. So you're always going to be nickel and dimed no matter what. You're always going to be nickel and dimed no matter what you do. And people are really obsessed about they want to collect every card. And then they were looking at Hearthstone systems saying, oh, there's a dusting system. But they don't realize that the rate in the packs, Hearthstone's rates are really bad. It's 1 in 20 packs to open it. You open one legendary every 20 packs. That's about the rate. I think Epic was 1 in 8, I want to say. But then if you look at MTGA, a Mythic, it's 1 in 6. Now, granted, Hearthstone you only need 2 copies you can only play 2 copies of every card and only 1 legendary. So once you get a legendary, you're basically set, right? But in MTGA you would need to open 4. So but the whole feeling about it is like, oh, every 6 packs I get to open a Mythic, right? Or something. But then I know I felt really bad. I'm like, oh my god, I've opened 30 packs. How come there's no legendary? What the hell? Like, you have no idea how bad that made me feel. I'm like, oh my god, I hate opening packs. Why? I don't know how I didn't even get a kick out of it. But maybe my luck was so bad, I was like, oh, this is so stupid. Like, I just really didn't like Hearthstone's rates.
I would get a streak of 10 or 20 packs where I get nothing but garbage or stuff I already had, and I get pissed. And then it'd be like, oh, I already spent $50. What if I spent 50 more? Oh, okay. I guess I just won't buy that video game next month. Okay. Cha-ching! Then the packs would roll through, and suddenly I'd start getting legendaries. Like, I'd hit the timers, and it was like, legendary, legendary, legendary. And, the announcer, of course, goes, legendary! And you're like, ooh. And, of course, I'm seeing other people on your friends list that they know you got a legendary. It shows up on your chat when they do.
It does show. I remember when the sets launched and we would all open them at the same time. I'm like, oh my gosh, IDK just pulled a legendary. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, I've only pulled the free one. What the hell? And then Juicy Samples opened. I'm like, oh my gosh, these guys have like 2 or 3 legendaries already. What the hell is this?
And it's like legendary, and then on someone else's chat they're seeing like, oh, IDK opened this card, opened this card, opened this card, and you're like, motherfuckers buying packs.
I wasn't thinking that. I was like, these guys are so lucky. That's what I was thinking. I was like, oh my gosh, this feels bad.
And they did that on purpose to make you feel like you need to buy more cards. Like Absolutely. If I saw someone on my friends list unlock a card I wanted, it was like, how did that son of a unlock that legendary card? He got so lucky. Why aren't I that lucky?
So one
use the most powerful.
One reason why I am not too I don't fall really too prey to packs is because I'm used to opening real booster packs, and I have some here. I just pulled them from over there. I have lots of stacks of Magic packs unopened because I want to play with them. But like I'm used to opening these and getting garbage. So then like when I was playing Hearthstone, I was like, if I open garbage, that's what happens when you open packs. So and I've been trained to say that buying packs is just bad value, right? If you want to buy in physical cards, because I'm like, if you want the cards, just buy the single, right? But you can't do that in Hearthstone or basically online CCGs. You have to buy packs, and then you have to use the resources gained from the packs in order to in order to get the cards you want to get.
Yeah, and that's where it goes to the point of like value-wise, online card games versus traditional. Traditional, you can buy the packs, unlock them, open them, whatever, and then at the end of the day, you can cash out.
Yep.
You can sell your cards to a card shop or something for cents, but you'll get money.
Yes,
you'll get some of your money back.
Yep.
With Hearthstone, like literally, when I closed my account, like I was deleting the Blizzard launcher, I went in and like dusted a bunch of cards, which is great. I have a bunch of dust. I can't do shit with that now. It's just there for the day when future Shawnee Man or future IDK decides to go back, if he ever does, to Hearthstone, which I don't think I ever will. So it's just there. Just there in my account.
So, Juicy, you were saying that what kind of economy I would like. So actually, this is a hot take, and I don't think many people would agree with me. I actually like Artifact system. I think that is the best system. I think we talked about this when we were talking about monetization in games. So I think the ability to cash out is really important. Is the best kind of economy, because just like IDK said, right? He dusted a bunch of cards, but he can't. What is he gonna do with the dust? Dust doesn't turn into cash into your wallet. Doesn't turn into cash in your wallet, right? And so I actually really liked the way that Artifact did it. And, being able to sell your cards, even if Steam takes a cut, regardless, right? I think that system is the best. But why would I pay money to play an online card game when I can actually buy physical? Why not I just play Pokemon TCG in real life, right? Why not I just do that instead? I think, while I do think Artifact definitely was the way card economy should be, being able to cash out is really important. But ultimately, people don't want to spend money on digital cards. They want to spend. They would, if you gave them that option, why not just go buy physical cards? Go play Pokemon. Go buy Yu-Gi-Oh cards, right?
Yeah, I mean the thing is also like with the physical cards, you hold on to something for forever until like it gets burned or destroyed or something, or someone sells it when you're not looking. Like, and you and a friend, if you have decks, can just sit down and play a game whenever you want to. Mm-hmm. Whereas Hearthstone, like, if Hearthstone disappears tomorrow, and we all wanted to play for some reason, we can't. It's gone.
Yep.
That's the problem with digital games. If the digital game dies, your collection dies with it.
And
I mean, it's.
sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
I,
Sorry.
I would argue it in a different context. Like for example, League of Legends. Like, what if you could sell your skins? But would that be a good idea? Like, I guess what I'm asking is, should people feel entitled to have some sort of monetary value back
Yeah.
in
So
their video games? And I don't think gamers are entitled to that, and I don't think I think the idea is it gets like drastically more complex once you introduce like real world value into things.
yeah, definitely from a legal perspective, I can see that definitely for sure. But
Mm.
the for collectible, I think CCGs they are games, but they're also collectibles, right? They're also collectibles, and collectibles should have value. I think that, and I think maybe it's like I said, it's because I come from an MTG background too, right? So when I see people complaining about MTG being too expensive to play or something like that, I'm like, dude, you know how much a paper deck costs? If I were to buy all these cards in paper, it would cost me hundreds of dollars. But I basically have all these cards for free and I can play with them for free.
Yeah.
Whereas, and Hearthstone, there's no alternatives to that. So I can definitely see the value, the comparison there. But I think collectibles should have value. But that being said, if you're able to cash out, the way that the game's economy would be structured would be drastically different because you can't cash out. Basically, you can't print money, right? You can't actually print money, right? And if you give people the ability to cash out, then and your game is free to play, the cards value are basically going to plummet to zero eventually because people are playing for free. Which is why I don't think which is why I think Artifact system was great, but people can't play for free, so people aren't going to play. That's ultimately what's going to happen, which is what happened to Artifact, right? You can't play for free. Not only did you have to pay for the game, and you did get when you paid $20 for the game, you did get $20 worth in vouchers to play, for packs or stuff like that. But
Mm.
like people aren't gonna, they're not gonna play your game if it's not free to play. Free to play is, the first hit is always free, right? And then that's how they get you hooked.
Pretty much. And like going to League as an example, like you can't cash out within the game. Like the thing is with League skins, even the super rare ones, like you had to get from year, like they're not technically a limited quantity like a super rare card in Magic is that like
Mm-hmm.
only got printed like 100 times.
Yeah.
There are billion different copies of a skin existing in the framework. So like the only way to cash out of League is to do the incredibly against TOS action of selling your account
Yep. Yep.
to someone, and that's the only way you cash out of League.
Yep. So
And even
Yeah,
then,
so I comparing to League of Legends, like I think the question is whether we should allow people to cash out on games in general. I'm using League of Legends
yeah,
as
yeah.
an example where you can't cash out. Where like
without going through like a backdoor channel, like I'm pretty sure if you wanted to cash out of any online game you've spent money in, you
yeah,
could sell your account to someone.
Yes.
It just comes to the risk, obviously, of that account getting banned very quickly when
Yeah.
you start logging in from a different part of the world and playing differently.
So,
But should people be able to? I always prefer to have the option, just in case someone has like regret about starting a game. But that's 100% in the hands of the developer and the publisher of the game. And like obviously for Blizzard and Hearthstone and for Magic the Gathering, it's not in their best interest to allow people to
absolutely not.
leave the game.
Absolutely not.
You want to keep people hooked. People will stay because they have a collection and they don't want to lose it because they invested money into it.
The sunken cost fallacy. The sunken cost
Exactly.
fallacy. So I actually think
Yeah.
that you should be able to, because like let's say that I do a real world hobby, right? Like for example, I used to do archery. If I stop doing it, I can sell my bow and my arrows, right? I can sell everything and get some money back. So
Yeah.
and like just video games, right? You can sell your used video games. I think that philosophy should hold for like obviously to go out of video games, if you look now, a lot of these companies now are waiving the right to repair, like Tesla, Nintendo, um, iPhone. Actually, no, iPhone do it. Does Apple waive the right to repair?
You mean like, are they willing to repair your phone?
No. Do they let you repair your phone yourself?
Oh, your own phone? I
Yeah.
don't think so. You break your warranty.
Okay. But anyways, the right to repair is pretty big debate now, especially with cars, because like Tesla does not allow you to repair your own car. Like you need to go through one of their repairmen, and if companies have the choice, there's no way they would ever let you sell. They want you to keep everything. They don't want a secondary market around their product because they're not going to get money out of it. So, like, Juicy, if you could choose an economy, how would you structure your CCG? Since you originally asked the question.
Uh, I think Hearthstone does a pretty good job. I think they can always be more generous.
So,
I
like,
yeah, I
if they change the redusting to 50%, that would.
yeah, I think that would be a pretty good like solution.
Hmm.
Yeah. For me personally, I think a card game we haven't talked about, because I'm not sure how many of us actually played it, but Legends of Runeterra
Yes, I was about to bring that up.
actually has a very generous system for
Yep.
free to play.
Yep.
Like you can buy cards in that game, so you can buy packs, but you really, you really don't need to because they have multiple like unlock bonuses for like leveling up a deck and playing cards within a certain area or whatever. Like the last time I played it, you can just play it. And you'll get a ton of cards, and you can make a bunch of decks and have a good
You
time.
can complete the set in a month, right? You can complete a set within release, like in a month, right? A month for release.
I
Right?
think so. Yeah, you constantly play it. Yeah, you can, which I think is amazing. It's just, I think the issue is I played Hearthstone for too long. So when I started playing Legends of Runeterra, I was like, oh, this isn't Hearthstone. Like this can't replace it. Like if Legends of Runeterra had been my first card game, I would probably still be playing it.
I have another proposal for the economy.
Yeah.
You make all the cards free. In some way, like play as you go, and you end up getting all the cards.
Mhm.
What you don't give for free are the skins, and I want my Jaina skin back. I will pay top dollar for my Jaina skin. Just revert that skin. I'll buy it from you.
Dude,
And
I
it'll
love
just
your
be
idea.
like any other game.
Juicy, I love your idea. It's like, let me see if I have an example.
It's literally free to play.
All right, so let's say, okay, you get every card for free, but your card looks like this. Your card looks like this. Your card looks like this.
Pay for art.
You gotta pay for the art. You got
the art is like black and white, no color.
Dude, that would be such a good game. It's like it'd be like a hilarious joke game. Like imagine streaming it. You're like, all right. We're playing black and white. No, we're playing nickel and dime TCG. We're playing nickel and dime. So all the cards are available for free. But they look like this. It's an online game. You watch a streamer and you're like, why is the art in this game so bad? And then eventually they'll run into like some guy with like the actual art, right? They pay and like, oh, this is a whale. Their cards actually look like cards. That's actually I like that. So yeah, I was gonna bring up Legends of Runeterra, and this also ties back to what we talked about earlier. So the reason why Legends of Runeterra has to do this, basically give their cards away for free, is because they have to compete with MTGA and Hearthstone. They're not a leader. The reason why Hearthstone was so greedy was because they were the leader. They can afford to be, and MTGA can afford to be, because they know that the paper cards cost a lot more than the digital cards, so they can like. I don't care. Like, if you don't like the system, then you can just go buy our physical cards instead and pay a lot more, right? So
I also think Runeterra and League of Legends as a whole the branding is super strong. Where I think
Mm-hmm.
people who play Runeterra also plays LoL
Yep.
or
Yep.
back and forth, and I think that connection with Hearthstone and any other Blizzard games, I think the connection is much thinner, or like there's
Mm,
not. I don't think Hearthstone players play WoW and vice versa, and it's harder, and that's why I think Hearthstone comes off as a game that needs to monetize, whereas I would say maybe Runeterra, maybe it's a little bit more different, where the players that play Runeterra also plays LoL, and Riot as a whole makes money in some way. So that's why they're able to afford giving these free cards
hmm.
or making the game more free.
I see.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's because Riot now does have the S in their name, so they have multiple games going. They all have different microtransactions you can purchase. I mean, I was literally just reading about the other day. Valorant, their FPS has some very expensive gun skins and character skins in that game. Like, if you're not playing League of Legends, if you're not playing TFT, if you're not playing Legends of Runeterra, but you are playing Valorant, we're gonna get your money somehow. Somehow, and if you're playing all of them, well, we're gonna get your money too. You'll find something cool in one of our games to buy, and by doing that, you help support them all.
Yeah. I at the end of the day, I really do like Steam's monetization system the best. Just being able to sell your stuff when you don't like it anymore. I think I am a big fan. I'm all for consumers being having the right to sell their stuff when they're done with it, right?
Open market,
Open
yeah.
market. I'm 100% in support of that. And at the end of the day, when you play CCG, it is against the publisher's best interest to have a secondary marketplace. And even if they did, we saw what happened to Artifact, right? If you have a secondary marketplace, you have to charge more for your game. Your game can't be free. And we saw what happened to Artifact as a result of that. Which I think Artifact is actually very similar to Legends of Runeterra. The gameplay was very similar. But yeah. Anyways, gameplay aside, ultimately at the end of the day, they go they gonna get your money. They gonna get your money.
How does MTG alleviate that? Is it just that like the cards are much more expensive because of that?
You mean
Because
the
of the secondhand market,
you mean the physical MTG or the digital MTG?
physical?
Like the reason why is because I think it ultimately comes down to the feeling, right? Like when you buy a physical pack, you own it. You own it, right? Whereas
I
if you
meant the reason as in like for it to continue surviving. Whereas like for like Artifact, it didn't survive because of this way, and then for
no,
Hearthstone, it's
no, like
surviving.
it's just the feeling. It's absolutely the feeling, 100%. But if you're comparing Artifact to MTG, it's because of the feeling. It's because it's digital versus physical. Physical, you own the cards. You can look at them. You can play. You can shuffle them in your hands, and yeah, I think for MTG, people are willing to spend the money. It's first of all, MTG is probably one of the best card games, in my opinion, one of the best card games ever made. Even though it's the first one, but it's most of the card games that we play, you can't interact on your opponent's turn. I think Yu-Gi-Oh is probably the only one where you can't interact on the Yu-Gi-Oh is the only other big game where you can interact on the opponent's turn. But all other games you can't really, like Hearthstone. You just all because of the way the digital systems work, right? It's really hard to program it when you can respond to the other person in real time. It's really hard. And for MTG, the physical cards, people are willing to pay, but it's ultimately I think it comes down to the feeling and the fact that you can sell your cards back. So that's why the price tags go up, right? Because if you buy a card from someone's getting cash out of it, and people they're willing to put money into MTG because they can sell it. There's resale value included, which is why I know some people don't like putting money in digital because, like just like IDK mentioned, right? You can't pull the money out. IDK spent money on card packs. Well, guess what? He can't get it back. I'm sorry, IDK.
I just think of all the time I had having fun playing with the OP decks when they were at their climax. And I'm like, haha, I get to play these decks. I don't have to try to grind for them. But I paid the price in the end.
Grim Patron was a pretty cheap deck too, right? I think the only legendary needed was Gramash, right? Was there any
Yeah,
legendaries in the Grim Patron deck? It was also pretty cheap. Like,
is I mean, well, getting Grim Patron itself is a little expensive because you have to buy the
The Black Rock. But it wasn't at the top though.
Black Rock.
It was like in the middle.
It, yeah, it wasn't, but you still have to pay for it.
Yeah. And I think like God, Reno Jackson, dude, those decks. Oh, I couldn't even in my wildest dream play those decks because they had too many legendaries. Yeah, so people they want to buy the cards directly. I think if there was a card game that let you buy the cards directly, I think it would also do very well. They would make the publishers a lot of money. But the problem is that you want people buying packs. But I think they can come up with a pricing scheme such that, let's say a pack costs $1, right? And there's a legendary. They can make the legendary cost $20. People would still buy it. I think that would definitely be. You basically want to give the consumer more choices, and I think that will it pays off in the end.
Right.
What if Hearthstone sold like 1,000 dust for, I don't know what the equivalent would be, like let's say $5.
I think that price is too low. I think they would have to sell it for $10 to make it.
Mm.
But yeah, I think it'd be a lot better. I think it'd be a lot better, to be honest. Like one Hearthstone pack is $1, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let me pull up the dust chart here. So on average, you will get 50 dusts in a pack. I would say 50, assuming you don't open any epics or legendaries. So I think the dust has to be priced to be more efficient than opening packs itself.
Yeah, so like
Right. So
I see.
So maybe 1,000 for 10 is I think that's a good price. 5 is too cheap in my opinion, but 1,000 for 10 is about right. I think people would. I if I were them, I would sell it in actually, is 1,000 a good one? Let me see. Yeah, 1,000 is a good one because it's not enough for a legendary and it's slightly more than an epic. So
Yeah.
you've got to sell it on those weird weird numbers, right? So yeah, I think
Price points.
yeah, I think people would buy it. I honestly think they would.
1,000 for $10.
1,000 for 10.
Man, that sounds like a rip, but it kind of makes sense.
It's more efficient than
it's-
opening packs, right? It's more efficient than
Yeah.
opening packs.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good way to you should give your customers different ways to spend their money.
That's true. That's true. I genuinely believe that. Give your customers different ways to spend money. That sounds like a no-brainer, right? Like, well, I want them to spend money. I just give them different options to spend money. No-brainer.
Yeah, and people they are concerned with value. So you have people like IDK who just want to rip packs, right? They just want the excitement, right? And so then you also have more. Sorry, IDK, if that statement was incorrect.
Well,
I mean, hitting them card packs, it was pretty good. It was high.
you got explode the card pack, but I can see if there was a choice to buy 1,000 dust for $10, I can see IDK buying both options. Like
Yes.
you crack enough packs, and you're like, oh, I hate all of these legendaries. I'll disenchant all of them. It's like, oh, I just need like 1,000 more dust. I'll just spend like $10
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
that's like the most efficient way to get
Yes.
1,000 dust.
Yeah. So I think having an option to cater to the more efficient spenders would be a good option too, right? They're like, okay, I can buy a pack for $1, or I can buy 1,000 dust for $10, which is cheaper than because I just want this legendary, right? I don't want to keep opening packs, so I'll just buy this dust, save some money, right?
Right, and you'd get the neurotic in me going both ways. I'd buy 10 packs and I'd buy 1,000 dust.
Yeah.
Just on the off chance of like, okay, I'll open these 10 packs, and if I get it, I don't have to worry about it anymore. But if I don't, I'll just buy the dust and dust these guys, and I'll get the card. And then I can make the deck I want.
Yeah, I think it's really important to keep in mind how, like even if it's the most efficient way for or it makes the profit margins on something is high, right? And you keep that as the only option, it doesn't mean you're going to maximize the amount of customers that are actually going to buy that, even if it's the only choice, right? So if you introduce other options that have lower profit margins, you might in the long run make more money because you have basically more people spending their cash and they don't feel like they're wasting their money. And I know after opening packs, the buyer's remorse is instant. You're like, okay, I've opened 50 packs. Shit. How much money did I just spend? Oh, crap.
Kagros, I really want that motivational poster saying, "Give your customers different options to spend their money."
It's a no-brainer, man. Like, come on. I'm not even a business major, and even I know this.
Lord Gabe Newell said it best. Piracy is not a matter of price; it's a matter of availability.
Yeah.
Let your customers buy, and they will purchase it.
Yep.
Limit it, and we sail the high seas.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyways, I think the bottom line is CCGs, they want you to buy packs because that's how they make money. It doesn't matter any of the fancy ways they put the bow around it. You're like, Hearthstone, they have the dust stick system, great, but in order to get dust, it all comes down to buying packs. MTGA has wild cards. How do you get wild cards? You gotta buy packs. So at the end of the day, they just want you to crack those packs and get that high of like, oh, what am I gonna get? What am I gonna, And
you gotta sniff it. You gotta sniff the pack.
So
Golden legendary. Mm.
Ooh,
well,
yeah.
While I do like the gameplay of card games, I think all of us, we do enjoy the card games, which is why we played Hearthstone for a long time. It is a good strategy game, but ultimately there's RNG involved, and I'm not a big fan of RNG. I don't know about you guys. I know IDK loves RNG. He loves his dice.
I love a certain amount of RNG, and Hearthstone definitely had that in spades. There were definitely days where I'd be screaming at my computer like, "That's not fair! Why did he get it and I didn't? Why did mine fail?" But like, there are plenty of days where like I get this the reverse. I'd be like, "Hey, I drew the right card, you lose. I win, you lose," and then you can see them raging, just getting really upset. Yeah, Hearthstone. Some days I do get cravings to go back to Hearthstone. Like, I really want to like go back to it, but I just can't. I don't want to fall into that trap again and like spend money, especially on Blizzard. After the Blitzchung event, after Hong Kong, like, I'm really shocked at how many people have sort of like brushed that off or like forgiven Blizzard because they came out and did a stupid, crappy apology. It wasn't even really an apology, and now everyone's just waiting for Diablo 4 and whatever else they're going to bring out. I'm like, how could you forget what they did? How could you forget what they said?
It's ridiculous. IDK, like we mentioned on before, Riot's a Chinese company, right?
Sure. Riot didn't come out with a map and be like, yeah, the South Seas, that's part of China, or no one's ever said anything at Riot on a Riot broadcast, and then the next day, like, the broadcasters were fired, and the person who said the thing was fined and banned from competitive play. Like, they keep that shit behind closed doors. Of course, now Riot has all these lawsuits going on for sexual harassment, but that's a different story.
Yeah, we should. I feel like we should do a social episode talking about social aspect of gaming, as the culture as a whole. But anyway, that's for another.
Mm-hmm.
Juicy, you got any final thoughts?
You talk about RNG, but CCG is RNG. It's calculated RNG for sure.
Yeah.
Because each card you draw is random, but you can sway it in your favor because you built the deck, right? And I still think Hearthstone still falls under that category, where you choose the cards that are random, but they typically sway in your favor, and that's just calculated RNG.
Yeah,
and
but Hearthstone's RNG, they use RNG as a balancing mechanic, and you know this. they use RNG as a balancing mechanic, and you know this. MTG does not have that. Like, the systems are inherently RNG, but the cards themselves, their effects are not based on RNG. When you have a Hearthstone thing where like the systems are RNG and the cards themselves are also RNG, All right, how about this? Let's start with Juicy. To close it off, what was your favorite Hearthstone moment in gameplay? What gameplay moment gave you the best feeling? Throughout all of your Hearthstone, I know mine. I know mine for sure. I'm curious. What was your favorite moment when you were playing Hearthstone, like in your favorite gaming moment from Hearthstone.
I honestly really like OTKs.
Mm-hmm.
So like typically any OTK where you get to like pre-plan the move, I really like that. And then I think second to that is probably Yogg.
Mm.
The
Oh yeah.
RNG aspect, Yogg. It's just so funny because you're just like throwing dice, right? Like even when you're falling behind, you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, just throw out Yogg. Let's see what happens.
Please don't kill me. Please don't kill me.
And there's only two outcomes. One is, oh, you actually come back and you have a fighting chance, and two is like, I had fun. I had Yogg.
All right, IDK, what about you?
I keep mentioning this deck over and over on the podcast, but Bomb Warrior. I love Bomb Warrior. I love the idea of like spamming bombs into your deck, which really punished mill decks. And it was like, yeah, you draw those cards. Yeah, you get them bombs.
What was the
So
Bomb
just
Warrior?
seeing the card come up, boom, 5 damage. Boom, 5 damage. And they're like, what? And they're like, come on, keep drawing.
What set was this released in?
Bomb Warrior was in. It was before Saviors of Oldom.
Oh, okay.
It was like the
That's
evil.
Rumble? Was it Rumble? No, or the one before Rumble. It was the one before Rumble.
Something evil,
Okay.
or like it had Dr. Boom.
Oh
as
yeah.
one of the
I
mascots.
remember. Yeah.
Yeah, Layers of Evil, something like that. I think it was in that set.
Wait, it sounds really familiar to that legendary, the one that makes mines, the destroyer. It was the warrior legendary. I think that was from like.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty old card.
Oh yes, I remember now.
Yeah, that mine.
Yeah,
like, when they draw it, deals 10 damage. 10 damage to them, I think it was. But
and Wild, that was a card you put in the deck. But in Standard, because obviously the card was gone, you put in like the 5-cost Bombardiers.
Mm-hmm.
And then those got cut because they were too expensive.
Yeah.
But you'd have like the weapon you could equip, and you would attack, and you would put a bomb into their deck, and you had a card on the field you put down, and it would duplicate any bombs you put into their deck.
Mm-hmm.
So you could put like 10 bombs into their deck, but it could backfire on you. Like if they ever drew any of their bombs, you could card yourself out. You'd run out of cards, and you had to hope and pray that they didn't hold on to 7 cards in their hand, because if they started milling cards from the top of their deck, your bombs would get milled and they wouldn't do anything, and you would just get screwed. Or if they played, what was it? There was a card released in the set that converted all 1-cost cards to something else, like the random minions or whatever. And
I think
if
it
you
was a
were
paladin card.
Yeah, if you were Bomb Warrior against one of those guys, you prayed they didn't have that card. Otherwise, they turned all your bombs into monsters, and you just lost.
I sense overflowing salt coming from Kagros as we talk about RNG. You're like, like.
I mean, all right. So here's my moment. No. Here's my moment. So it's not even a deck. It's just one moment. So this was a while ago, but my favorite moment in Hearthstone is when you have no outs. Like you literally can't win. So you know me, I like playing aggro, right? So I have them down to like 3 life, but I can't deal the final 3 damage. So you know what the plan is when they got a full board and they got 3 life? You know what the plan is? You throw out Ragnaros and you just pray.
I thought, for a sec, I thought you were gonna say you just emote and you say well played, and then you just like trick them and you like pretend that you're about to kill them, and then they concede.
Like those are my favorite moments as an aggro player. It's like, all right, I'm playing mage, and then I top deck Fireball, or I top deck the Pyroblast and kill them right off the top.
Yeah,
and they're so salty, dude. They're so salty, dude. You know they're salty as hell when you do it, right? But like when you get Ragnaros and they got a full board of 7 minions, and then Ragnaros, good old Ragnaros, throws that fireball in their face. Like I know why Ragnaros is banned. He's just a really strong card because I played him in every single one of my decks because it never feels bad to play Ragnaros, to just throw Ragnaros on the table, right? It never feels bad. You like if you're behind, you throw him, he can turn around the game. He can turn the game around for you. If you're ahead, even better, right? Like at all points in the game, if you throw Ragnaros, it's a plus for you. Like even Ragnaros backfires on me all the time. It's like he always hits the wrong target. But like when they got a full board and they're one fireball away from winning, and you throw right, and good old Ragnaros just throws that fireball to the wrist, I'm like, yes. That is my favorite moment in Hearthstone. There will never be another. Man, I love Ragnaros.
Dude, play more Hearthstone. That's RNG. What's wrong with you? Why are you denying yourself this pleasure?
I love Ragnaros, dude. Ragnaros by far is the most powerful card in all of Hearthstone. I don't care what anyone says. As an aggro player, he's the best card in the game.
I think a close second place for me would be when I was playing. What was it called? Hand Warlock.
Yeah.
So you have to hold your hand, and like I'd be down to like 2 or 3 cards, and I have like an Acolyte of Pain, and the spell that like would strike once, and if it kills something, it would hit again and keep going.
Yeah.
And a whole board of like 1s and 2s, so you would throw him down, and you buff his health, and then you hit it. So it just keeps hitting him. You draw back your entire hand, and you refill. And meanwhile, you clear out their entire aggressive board that they put all their cards down for. And you're like, I've got cards again.
Yeah, if someone plays, I forgot what the card was called. Every time I play against that card and they did it, I just concede right away because I can't win anymore.
Yeah, Defiled. I hope it comes back to core.
Yeah.
Core set.
It's
one
card.
of the best
It's
cards.
a good card. It's a good card. So, anyways,
That was fun to use.
Anyways, I think I think that's a good note to end on. We're singing the praises of RNGesus, and it's a good way to end it because that's what card games are anyway, right? Just like Juicy said. So, anyways, thank you viewers for watching. Once again, we stream on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. PST. If you want to catch us on our next episode. Otherwise, you can find us on our YouTube channel. You can see our YouTube channel name here at the bottom of our stream. So, anyways, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.